Hey guys, it's Claudia from Accelerate Off-Grid Touring. Today I'm introducing you to one of our brand new dual battery kits for the Prado 250 series. Our 100 amp underfloor kit was so popular. We had so many requests of, can we put more battery power under the floor of my Prado 250 series? Well, now you can. We now have a 220 amp hour dual battery kit that goes under the rear floor of your 250 series, whether it's a 5 or a 7-seater. This kit here it's coming in a couple of different options. So you've got the option with an inbuilt 40 amp DC charger. So this is our entry level option. Then you have your step up. So if you're wanting that Jumpstart feature, which comes with the Alpha, you have the option between your Alpha 25 amp and your Alpha 50 amp. So if you are opting for the Alpha 50 charger, please bear in mind it will be dialed back down to 40 amps. So let's get into it. We're going to walk you through how to install this kit yourself. However, you can take it to your local auto electrician to have it installed as well. So Jack's going to walk you through absolutely start to finish on how to install this dual battery kit in a Prado 250 series.
All the tools you'll need will be a 13mm spanner, a 12mm spanner, a 10mm ratchet with a extension preferably, a couple of trim tools, Phillips head screwdriver, and it's a 10mm spanner. Alrighty, so to get these rear seats out and all these plastics out, we're going to start off with moving this back tub first. Just clips out and set that aside. Next up, we're going to take off this back trim piece panel. So this is where your trim tools can come in handy. Just want to get underneath that front bit of the plastic, carefully prying up and working the whole way along. Next up, we just want to get this side panel here off and this side panel here off. So it's just a matter of getting either your fingers or a trim tool up underneath. These are just clipped in. They might require a little bit of pressure. Just a couple of clips there and there. This side, this might come out in two pieces. The top carpet, the plastics underneath that house the tools. The tools can be left in. They're out in this vehicle at the moment. You can set this aside. Then we can take off this back bit here. There's a couple of clips underneath here and then 4 clips along here. So just lift up. These do require a little bit of force. Just like so. And then we can take off this back panel here. So it's just pulling out towards you, like so. All right, so next up, we're gonna unplug our seats and take off our clips for our wiring. So just unclip the gray, unclip the white with the little tabs just on top, so use your fingernail, just clip them down like that. Then on the back of this one here, there's 2 little side clips that can just be pushed in, there and there, pushed in and then pulled out. All right, so once we're up here, what we can do is we can fold the seats up just to give ourselves a little bit more room. And then just get your fingers underneath this front plastic here and slowly pry them off. Working your way to the front, there's just a couple of clips holding those into the seats themselves. Same on this side here, gently prying out towards the front of the vehicle. Just like so. And then we can access our 4 bolts. These are a 14mm bolt head, so we'll get those out now. Alrighty, so to pull these seats out, they are quite heavy, so it is always handy to grab a friend, or in this case an apprentice, aka Finn. So we're going to pull these seats out so we can get this carpet out and then go from there. Alrighty, so to get this carpet out, there's 2 clips on either side, here and here, and it's tucked in underneath the bit of plastic here. So these do require a little bit of force. We've already taken these ones out prior to the video, just to try and make our lives a little bit easier. But yeah, so they just pop out, just lifting straight upwards, and then we can just untuck the carpet from the plastic, just like so. We can set this aside for later. So we have now just taken our seats out, all our plastics off, and we're going to mount our dual battery tray as well as our charge harness. So we'll go ahead and mount our charge harness using our 12 volt here and our ground here, similar to as we do in our 100 amp tray. Alrighty, so take off this little black cover here. You need to grab your finger or a trim tool or a screwdriver and just work your way underneath here. And then same on the other side, just like that. There's two little clips. That is clip holding it underneath this bit of plastic here. And then these two bolts here are just 12mm bolts. So we're gonna go and take our positive off first before we take off our ground. Alrighty, so as you can see, the nut's off and that is pressed pretty firmly in there. So you should not need to touch this wire off this stud here. So all you need to do is just lay your harness onto there and do up that 12mm bolt. Not needing to touch this cable, as our cables will just sit on top of it, just like that there. Alrighty, so once everything's done up tight, we can then put our cap back on our 12 volt positive there, and we'll have our charge harness just lying just like that so we can mount our tray. So as you can see here, we've already moved our harnesses off these 2 points here and down to here. We've done this previously, as we have previously installed a 100 amp kit, whereas now installing a 200 amp kit. So we've left this as is, but you will have to undo these two clips and just zip tie the cabling down underneath there so you have a nice flat open spot here. Now we're gonna actually start mounting our tray. So our first step is, this is the only factory bolt that we're gonna have to take out, is this one here. We're also going to use this bolt hole here and this bolt hole here. Now, they might be under these little black sticky circles like here. So all you have to do is get a fingernail or a screwdriver or something and just pry them off, and it will look like a little threaded hole like that. So with our dual battery tray, we've mounted our battery onto the tray first. You don't have to do this, but it was just a bit easier for us. So mount your tray using these 6 bolts here. There will be nut inserts in the tray, so it's just a matter of bolting it to the tray. There are also 3 screws on the back here, which just screw straight into the battery using holes like here, which screw into the metal and into a plastic inside the battery. So you don't have to worry about damaging the battery or anything like that. It's all fully safe to screw into it. So now we have our tray and we're just gonna lower it into the car. It does help if you have a spare extra set of hands. So Finn, you just gonna grab that side. As if you have the battery on it, it is quite heavy, as it is 200 amps. Yes, it is lithium, but it is still a little bit heavy. So what we're gonna have to do is this bit here actually tucks underneath this bit of plastic just here. So what we're gonna do, so we're gonna work our way underneath these cables here. You'll see a little metal bracket once we move the batteries across. You wanna sit them underneath that bracket so they're not gonna rub or anything silly. And just like that. Alrighty, and then we can grab our factory bolt, reinstall it back into that hole, through our plate, get that down nice and tight. At the more towards the front of the car, and we use our 2 supplied M8 bolts and washers and go into these holes here. We'll have to maneuver the battery just around a little bit. We can screw the first one in and the second one in and get them nice and tight. So once our tray's bolted up nice and tight, we can then grab our charge harness that we've tucked away and we can just plug it straight in to our Anderson plug just here. And then we can tuck our excess cable down underneath our tray. You can chuck a zip tie just there on the earth lead so it keeps it all nice and tight and out of the way. Now with this tray, we have kept it the same as a 100 amp tray for our socket output, our solar input, and our ignition input. So whether you get a driver's side or passenger side socket bank, it's not gonna matter, as these are all in the same spot, everything will just reach. So for that, Andrew's gonna take you through mounting a socket bank and plugging it all in, as it's the same as a 100 amp tray.
So now we've got our battery tray installed, we're gonna install our cup holder assembly. Now this is our standard, most common one. You'll notice it doesn't come with the Anderson plugs fitted, but we'll get to that. So we've got 2 things to do. We're going to remove this cup holder assembly. On this, we offer it in left and right. We're going to do this one on the driver's side, and then we need to get to the back here for our power feed. So this is quite simple as, there you go. And this just unclips like that. Happy days. And then there's a couple of options here. The best way we've found to do this is use something plastic. If you had to, you could use a bread and butter knife. Obviously we would use something like this. And then it's really dark in here, Liam. So that comes out. All you're really trying to do is just release it. And in there is a 10mm bolt. All right, so now that we're at that point, we've got our bolt out. This trim here becomes loose. And so if we want to do this the easy way, all we want to do is pop this back. There we go. So release it like that, reach down, and there's two ways you can do this. You can either just unplug it, which is probably easier, but I'm going to have the fight to get it out for you so I can show you what's going on back here. So if you get it out like that, there we have it. And all we're going to do is unplug it like that. We've got two jobs here. So we've got this here, and basically Liam's not going to show the end because we should have crimped a terminal on it. And then we're just going to clip this end onto here, clip this end into here, feed that back just into here, logo at the top, clip in, and then we can push that back in. It's as easy as that. Is what we're going to do. We're going to drill out our cup holder. So we need to make a hole in it to fit this through. So we might jump out of the car for this bit. What we want to do is we just basically want to drill a hole in this. So I'm just going to, you sort of got to come at a bit of an angle. And we're just going to, whoops, drill that in there. That's pretty cool. And then I'm going to cover these. And so basically what we've got is we've got a hole down in there like that. And so your cup holder is still completely useful. So I've got a little, a deburrer that I'm going to clean this up with. So you can see we've got a hole there, nice hole. And it only needs to be, there you go, good hole there. Only needs just a good size, just to run this through. So once you feed it through, so what we've done is we've made it so that it just basically sits flush in there, and that's it there. And then we've got two screws there, there, wind it down. Please use a hand screwdriver so you don't slip and put a mark in it. And so these will, you can either drill a small hole or just push and get them started. And because I'm the way I am, I reckon you got to put the screws up and down. I'm a bit like that. All right, guys, and so now we just really want to drop this one in here. So we've got our ignition wire, we've got our cup holder cable, we got our cup holder, and all we're going to do is just feed it down. All we've got in here is air conditioning ducting. Down, spin it around, clip it in, ta-da! So there we've got our cup holder. What we've got left here is our ignition wire. It's going to connect to there, and then we've got our 4 terminals. So what we've got here is our grey. That's basically our power output up to the cup holder, and this is our solar input up to the cup holder. So we'll do you'll notice this is marked with red wire. It's slipped down a bit, normally be up a bit further. So when you mount these, what we're going to do is we've got positive red, you got the little bump and then the big bump. The little bump goes on the bottom and hooks onto the bottom there. So it'll go down, and basically you'll get a good solid click and it'll stay in there. Next one, good solid click, stay down there. And I'm just going to leave the tape on there, so if ever we pull it apart and somebody doesn't mark them, we don't have to use a multimeter. If you struggle like I am, just get a screwdriver, very gently, just push down from behind. So you don't want to damage the insulation, just push on the metal bit, and there we have it. Clip, clip, our ignition wire. And then this cable here is actually coming from our control module up the front. Now I mentioned that this is one with a control module. We're going to hook this one in here. you'll notice there is, so if you didn't go the control module option, you won't have this cable. If you did, you'll notice there's 2 arrows on it. So we're just going to, let's see, arrow, arrow, and then wind it down. All right, and now we're going to get a couple of cable ties. So this wire here, this is a double insulated wire, so it's got a sheathing on the outside and then the insulation in the middle, so it's actually double insulated. So what we do is we do this, like that, and you just, nah, I'm joking, come down nice and flush.
So as you can see, we have an Alpha 50 on this tray. So now's a good time to pair up your Alpha DCDC charger to your phone, as well as your Victron Shunt to your phone. Alrighty guys, and that's it. So this is how we install our 110 amp and our 220 amp dual battery system under the floor of a 250 series Prado.
Awesome. You have a 200 amp hour dual battery kit now installed in your Prado 250 series. If you have any questions whatsoever about the installation or how something might work, or if you just have a general question, pop them in the comments below. Otherwise, get in touch via our tech support form. As you know, we have a heap of gear for these Prado 250 series. If you want to check out any of our antenna mounts, our UHF bundles, towing packages, oh my God, there's so much. Watch them up here. Otherwise, YouTube thinks you should watch this one down here. Accelerate off-grid touring, powering your adventures.